Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been going through creating a series of video presentations for the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development Program, and in particular the AWD 1111.NET Framework with Web Databases class. The book that will be used for this class for the fall 2019 semester is shown on the screen here. It's Pro ASP.NET MVC 5 and a press text by Adam Freeman. We are in Chapter 8, where we're adding navigation to our sports store application. And I just wanted to mention that if I bring this up, this is what it currently looks like, except it now says right here it's got a different message. Alright, well, that's fine. But the point is, what we're going to want to do by the time we get done is we're going to want to take what was in that corner that said like hello from nav controller. We're going to want to change that. Alright, hopefully that makes sense to everyone that we would want to change that. We're going to actually make it, I think it looks kind of ugly the way the author has set it up, but he makes it look like a bunch of buttons over there. Alright, to create the view for the menu action method, right mouse click on the Views Nav folder and choose Add MVC5 View Page Razor from the pop-up. Set the name to menu, click OK, remove the contents, and replace it with this. So let's first do this. So, right mouse click on the View Nav folder, a lot of stuff open here, so let me close a few things. So right mouse click on the View Nav folder and let's add a view. Don't think we do want to add a view. I think we want to add a new item. Select Add, and we want MVC5 View Page Razor. MVC5 View Page Razor. There it is, and I believe we want this to be called Menu. Let's double check. Yes. So we come back, and we want to take the code that's in there, remove it, and replace it with the code that is shown in the text right here. And as the author said, I call the link home, a link home that will appear at the top and will list all of the products with no category filter. I did this using the action link helper method. Oops, I didn't want to do that, sorry. And that's right here. That generates an HTML anchor element using routing information as configured earlier. We then enumerated the names, so we've got product, home, list, and product. Alright, it's similar to an action link, but as the author said, it lets me supply a set of name value pairs that are taken into account when generating the URL from the routing configuration. Don't worry if it doesn't make sense yet. Routing is explained in depth in chapters 15 and 16. The links generated will look very ugly by default, so we supplied an object to both the action link and the route link that specifies attributes and applied bootstrap classes. You can see the category links if you run the application. If you click a category, it should now be updated. So when we get done, it should now look like this. Typically, you wouldn't want these to look like buttons, but there is nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. All right, we could make them look like little soccer balls or whatever, if we wanted to do something like that. But let's try running it. So, File, Save All, and let's just run the program and see if indeed it's working right now. should look like what is shown on page 209 if we've done it correctly. And again, with that partial view that's in here, we're going to try that, and we're going to first click water sports to see if it just brings up the water sports page, then soccer to see if it just brings up soccer, chess to see if it just brings up chess, and then home to bring up everything. So this is everything. There's water sports. Okay, we've got just that. Soccer, we've got just that. Chess, we've got just that. And home again, which gives us everything. So as of right now, at least, so far so good. Looks like it appears to be working, and working just fine for now at least. All right. At present, it says here, we do not indicate to users which category they are currently viewing. That might be something they like, even though they probably could infer what it is. All right. The author says, for variety, I'm going to use the view bag feature introduced in Chapter 2 to pass data from the controller to the view without using a view model. So what changes have we made? They're right here. So it's right after our public nav controller. Okay, so it looks like it's right after the constructor. Right before the IEnumerable, we're adding this. All right. We'll grab all of this. Bring up our nav controller. And we're going to replace that current view result with this. Again, the idea behind this is to set this up so that the user can very quickly, at a very quick glance, can tell exactly where they are. All right, so that's the idea behind this. We added the parameter to the menu action method called category. The value will be provided automatically by the routing information. Inside the method body, we dynamically assigned a selected category to the view bag property. Remember back in Chapter 2, the author explained that the view bag is a dynamic object. We created the new properties simply by setting values for them. All right. Next, we're supposed to put in yet another unit test. To see if what we just did works. And the author says here, this unit test will not compile unless you add a reference to the Microsoft.C# assembly described earlier. All right, let's just come into here. Let's close this, go to our unit test, bring up unit test 1, bring up that. Again, as you can tell by now, I've got my own little idiosyncrasies I do with this stuff. And not everybody is going to agree with what I do and how I do it. I'm totally fine with that. You're going to find that as you get going, same exact thing is going to happen. All right, you'll settle on your own style, and other people will be like, why'd you do that? Type of thing, okay? All right, we're up to page 211. And as the author says right here, now that I'm providing information about which category is selected, I can update the view to take advantage of this and add a CSS class to the anchor element to represent the current category. So that's it right there. By saying primary, we should be changing the color of that button that comes up. So, highlighting the selected category in the menu, let's just grab the entire for each loop we have in here. Try to. So we're in menu.cshtml. there's that for each loop. Just grabbing the entire thing here, replacing it with this. All right. The change is simple. If the current link matches the specified category, we add an element. Pretty obvious. We're changing the color so that whatever category we're currently in will now be blue. So we should be able to run the application. As always, I like to do a file, save all first. Let's run the application and see if indeed it does work. So let's click soccer, and you can see soccer is now blue. Water sports, chess, home does not light up. Okay. Suppose we could make a change to that so that it does. Now I'm running up where I could stop right here, but rather than stopping, I'm going to go to where they talk about correcting the page count on 212 and then the associated unit test on 213 and 214. The reason for that is what comes next is building the shopping cart. All right. So let's jump back into here. I need to correct the page count link, so when a category is selected, currently the number of the page is determined by the total number of products. This means that a customer can click the link for page 2 and end up with an empty page because there's not enough products to fill 2 pages. You don't want that. We can fix this by updating the list action method in the product controller so that the pagination information takes the categories into account. You can see the required changes in 811. So we want to go into the product controllers, and in the product controllers list method, we want to add this. So we want to go to product controllers. We want to find the list method. And right now we've got items right in here. I want to make sure, of course, I'm putting it in the right place. So I'm going to comment that line out. We're going to add this. All right, categories. Not look right. Total items category null. Repository. Product count. I think that is right. So if a category has been selected, we return the number of items in that category. If not, we return the total number of products. Okay? Now when you view a category, the links at the bottom should be correct. Well, that's good. They were wrong. That was pretty obvious. It was showing us 3 pages for virtually everything, which, as you'd guess, was wrong. So let's save all, and let's run it again. All right, then I'm very quickly going to put in the unit test that's on pages 213 and 214, and then we will finish this one up. All right, so notice now we get 3. We go to water sports, just 1. Soccer, 1. Chess, 1. And home, 3. Okay? So, all looks good to me. I'm going to go back into my unit tests, and in my unit test 1.cs, I'm going to go down to the bottom. Again, I'm putting this stuff in for completeness sake. I'm not doing the unit tests. I'm not going to be going over the unit tests. You might say, well, then why are you even doing this? I'm not even sure. All right. You saw that. That now worked. Okay. Testing that I'm able to generate a current product for different categories is simple. We create a mock repository that contains data in a range of categories and then calls lists. So let's grab this. Again, we will get an error message when we first put it in, because as of right now, it is incomplete. All right. Grab all of this. And put it in before, I believe it goes before that curly right there. I think that curly was put in for us automatically. All right. Boy, we're getting a lot of errors in here. I don't like that, but again, arrange, action, assert. Wonder if we do a target and we bring that dot list in here, if that'll make that error go away. No. At least makes it look a little nicer with what we just done. All right. So the next thing to do is to build the shopping cart. Yes. All right. So let's do a file, save all. All right, I'm not going to run anything, but I am going to stop right here, and we will pick it up on the middle of page 214 next, talking about our shopping cart.